I'm going to be giving you today a simple Pilates workout that kind of hits all the areas of movement of the spine. It's simple, it's effective. I recommend getting one of these soft Pilates balls. You can get them online, 7 or 9 inches, and they're fantastic just for a little bit of feedback or to modify the exercises. I'll be giving some modifications today for those that are a little bit tight in the back and maybe need a more gentle version. I'll try and flow through as best I can, and hopefully you enjoy this. It's about a 20-minute workout. So we're going to start on our backs. Have a head block or a cushion or a magazine to put your head on, and we're just going to lie down and just start to breathe and connect with the mat. So we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just feeling the rib cage swell, and exhale, feeling it surrender to the floor. Letting the breath come down to the pelvis. Let the body feel calm. Just notice for yourself whether the pelvis is lying one way or the other, the shoulder blades, how they feel on the mat, the rib cage. Are you settled into the middle? And as you breathe, let the diaphragm come down. Notice whether you're breathing through the chest. Let the diaphragm fill. Feel that nice calm breath pattern. We're going to move the pelvis very gently forward and back. I'm exaggerating it now so you can see it. We just want it to be calm, moving in what we call 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock on our pelvic clocks. So we're moving the hip bones away from the ribs and then moving towards. And we want to settle this so that there's not big global muscles working. So we're just working the soft, little deep support muscles of the spine and the pelvis. So how little effort can we work to make this happen? Okay, nice and gentle. And just let that come into your body. Feel how the back of you melts into the floor gently and gently arches away. There's no strain or stress there. And then come side to side with the pelvis. So one hip bone is lifting towards the ceiling, the other hip bone is melting down. It's a very rotational feeling. We often say go to 3 and 9 on your clock. And watch that it doesn't end up hitching towards the ribs, so it's just a soft rotation. The legs may want to try and move, but try and keep them calm. So just get that heaviness on one side. Imagine a little marble rolling over and landing on one hip bone, and then rolling over and landing on the other hip bone, nice and softly. Just feeling heavy there on each side. Notice whether one side feels like it can move a lot more than the other. And then from there, start to add some little clock movement around those 4 points. So from 6 to 3 to 12 to 9. I probably said that wrong. So 12 to 3 to 6 to 9, and rotate around nicely and smoothly. Just notice whether there's any sticky points in that circle, any bits that don't feel like they're moving very well. Do a few in one direction and then start to spiral them around in the other direction. So nice and easy. And just feel how smooth that is. Does it feel like a circle? Does it feel like a bowl of water that's just turning that liquid inside? And then you should be quite comfortable in the center of your circle, and that's our neutral zone we want to work from. So I want you to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, let one foot become heavy into the mat, and that pelvic clock stay nice and still, and just release lightly, 1 foot at a time. Letting the dropping leg be your focus, and the other leg just releasing lightly. So it's not a big lift of the leg. It's really to get our stability through the pelvis and our ability to stay centered. Working that breath in coordination with the march of the leg. If you feel steady enough and your pelvis isn't spinning, progress to the next one. If you feel that the pelvis is shifting every time you lift, keep with this action until you get strong enough to lift the leg a little bit higher. So if you're taking the mod a little bit further, sorry my lights went off, take one leg up to tabletop And then feel the support into the mat to lift the second leg up. If you can keep stable in that neutral position, you're doing very well. Float one leg down, breathing out, and then the other. It's really important that we don't bulge the abs. So let's feel the connection of the hip bones to the ribs. Feel the ribs surrender to the floor, the pelvis becoming heavier into the mat. Remember to keep working on those marches if you're not here yet. Slowly down. And alternate which leg you lift. Maybe it takes 2 or 3 breaths to really feel the support. If your hands were on your belly, you should be drawing away from your hands, not into them. So surrendering away. So it's really important if we're trying to do stuff where the legs are in the air. And if we're not there yet, I wouldn't recommend doing versions of abdominals where the legs are in the air. Because we're just not supported enough yet. And then come down and release. I'm going to grab the stability ball between the legs, arms nice and stretched. I'm just going to get a nice rotational action here. And I'm lifting off the other leg a little bit off the floor as I go over. Really feeling that rotation. Come back, feet go back down. As I go the other way, you can see my foot comes off. So I'm taking the shape over. Now that's our first version, which feels quite nice. Okay, be really where we want to surrender that rib cage to the mat. Okay, so we're not lifting and arching the back as we go around. Giving that breastbone to the floor. Now stay with that version, or from here, see if you can really connect the rib cage backwards into the floor to peel the legs up to tabletop. And then come around and over. And if you can support yourself all the way over to where we were before on the other side. And then exhale. Really draw the rib cage back into the mat to bring your legs. So it's not the legs leading, it's our obliques. So taking it over. So stay at that low version if you're there and you're happy. This feels just a little bit too much, and build up to this. Okay, usually if our tabletop position isn't strong enough, we probably won't be able to do the rotation lifting the legs. So that's okay. Just work to build yourself up. Don't go too fast too soon. So just do one more on each side here. Exhale. So I'm melting the rib cage back to pull those legs. It feels really nice. And over. I'm just going to listen to your body and learn what's right for you. And then come down. I'm going to keep the ball between them. I'm going to take the head block away. I'm going to do my favorite bridges. Let's take the arms a little bit lower. Melt the feet parallel. And press the feet into the floor. Start to slide the sit bones up the back of the legs and come into a bridge. We often see bridges popped way up here, and you can see there's an arch in my back. So we just want to come here where the hips are nice and open, the sit bones are traveling up, but there's not this stress at the back of the legs. And then on the way down, melting the breastbone, the ribs, and softening into that neutral position again. So weight through the feet. Sit bones travel up. The sacrum and the bottom of my pelvis is reaching forward. The groin is reaching to the ball. I don't want to be jamming the back in, so I want to really create length here so that the glutes here at the top are working. And then on the way down, relax the jaw and throat, melt through nicely back onto the floor. So feeling that stretch. And one more time, so coming up and feeling that gentle little roll. We tend to overdo the tightness. I'm not really over squeezing anything. I'm letting it happen. Stretching through here. Now from the top, we're going to do this little lateral stability movement. So I'm pushing the pelvis side to side. Okay, not spinning it, which will happen if we're not as stable in the spine and pelvis. So side to side movement. And I'm going to come down a little bit, melt that upper back a little bit, and side to side. You will feel quite a lot more muscles working to stabilize you here, but that's good. Okay? If it feels painful in your back, go back to just going up and down. It shouldn't feel painful, it should feel nice. And then come down and really let that tailbone release. So we do it again. Letting the sacrum reach out long. Front of the hips opening, the thighs stretching away. And side to side, lateral shifting movement. Back and forth. Feeling like your pelvis is like a typewriter, going side to side, and then come down, Really feel that mobility there. The sacrum is still reaching out. And here. I'm not tensing the back of my legs, trying to let them just support me, but not overly tense. Good. And then rest down. And you may want to hug your knees in, just give a little massage there. We'll do one more thing here on our backs, taking our hands behind the head. Nice traditional chest lift. So we're going to look the eyes down in the head, angle the elbows forward, and just gently peel up, taking an exhale. Inhale, stay. Exhale, throw the arms and gently reach to the back of the neck. Now, I don't want to strain here. I want to keep the head in line with the spine. Try and get some length here. Pelvis remains calm as you come up. The breastbone is melting down to the pelvis. Throw the arms. Give yourself a little bit more stretch. Then stay there before you come back down. So inhale, eyes down. Use the exhale to bring that sternum to the pelvis. Inhale. And then throw the arms on the exhale. And exhale back. Good, we'll do two more. So eyes roll down so we get that length at the back of the neck. I'm trying to create a stretch through the thoracic spine. And some of us might not be that flexible there, and that's okay. What we don't want to do is start shoving the chin to the chest or trying to tuck the pelvis under to make this happen. Okay, one more. Up, inhale, and exhale. Throw behind. Then stay at that level and release. We're going to take it across this time, so coming up. And I'm just going to reach the arm here and feel the shoulder blade gently reaching across for some soft little pulses. 3. Exhale, 4. So working the obliques. 5. Keep the head supported in the hands. 6 and 7. Let's go to 10. Come back to center. Still feel where you are here and release. Good, and then the other side. So coming up and reaching across. And then that shoulder blade on the left side is trying to reach off the floor. Still keeping the weight in my head. And 4. Exhale, 5. I've got that little squeeze on the ball. 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. And release all the way. Take that ball out. Give yourself a nice big stretch out. You might get a little crack or two. And then we're going to come onto our sides. I really think this is quite an important exercise to do. So we can do a little side line. If you can, keep your arm nice and straight down or bent and have just a little light support. And I'm going to lift the leg up nice and bent and just do a little swinging action back and forth. So just trying to get some hip movement without pelvic movement. So what we tend to do is really arch and flex, and we actually just want the leg to have a nice little rhythm back and forth. So I'm feeling that crease at the front of the hip, and then feeling the glutes gently pull back. And we do have to have an awareness of our obliques here, so that the ribs aren't popping forward, especially as the leg goes back. Watch we're not turned in or too turned out, just nice and parallel. So having a feeling of length here through the front. And do that about 10 times. Also watch the hips don't hitch. So we're keeping the same length on both sides. And then we're going to go in and press away. So just into a long line and out. And in. And stretch. So I'm trying to really stretch the hip flexors, the front of the thigh. And as I do that, I'm going to get some work happening at the back of the leg. Now, if you find that you're really aggravated on the side of the leg, it might be that your IT band is taking over a little bit too much. I would suggest getting a foam roller. I don't know how many I've done now, about 10. And do a little bit of fascial release. I'll show that in another video. And then come out and hold. Now we're going to flex the foot and bring that leg forward. I'm still keeping the pelvis stable and kick back. So this is starting to now make that leg feel quite a lot heavier. Watch the body doesn't roll and cheat itself. It's still that leg rhythm, that hip dissociation. And I'm trying to really stretch the back of the legs, almost stick my sit bone away from the heel as I go forward and stretch to the front of the thigh. So go back, so that's starting nicely burn in through the glutes. Let's go 2 more. If I've done less than 10, or if you feel like you can do more, pause the video and do more. And forward and back. And my favorite one, we're going to turn in the leg and then really kick it out and back. And turn in the knee towards the other leg and kick it back and higher. So I'm trying to reach it a little bit back, not compromising my pelvis position. You can do a little funky reach if you like to add some stability and add some challenge there. Reach the arm. Ooh, it's nicely burning now. I'm going to be all out of balance. So I'm going to let you pause the video, maybe rewind it and do it on the other side. And reach, and 2, reach, and 1, and reach. Well done, and release. And you should feel a nice warmth down through the front. So turn around, repeat that on the other side. 10 going forward and back in the bent position, 10 bend and stretch, 10 forward kicks and back, and 10 of those internal and reaches. And then we're going to go onto our front for a little extension exercise. So my favorite mobility exercise is here. This will be our modification, and then you can progress to the second one when you're ready. So a little W, legs long. We're going to press the mat away with the hands, lengthen the legs away so the thighs are stretching. The pubic bone is on the floor, and we're getting that nice little upper back lift. So sometimes we end up going too high and too sharp. Sorry, again, my little lights. And I'm getting a little strobe effect here on my video. And release back. And press through the hands and open through the arms. Now I've started, don't want to finish. I've got so far now. Stretch and press the arms forward. So we're letting that breastbone come forward. Roll the shoulders back. And we should feel that mobility in the upper back. And if you're a little bit tight in the lower back, put a cushion underneath your hips so that your lower back is a little bit more calm. And come up. Good. Now the second mod, if you feel ready and your arms are flexible enough, is a little swimming action. So we're going to reach opposite arm and leg into the air. So working into that lovely little cross chain across the body, the posterior chain, oblique chain. My head slightly lifted here, and we can work into the shoulder girdle and into the glutes again. And keep going with that. If that's a little bit too hard for you and your shoulder range is a little bit limited, then pop that little small ball underneath your chest, and then you can just work with the arms and trying to get that real scooping effect underneath. What I want to avoid is elevating the shoulders up. So if you're on the floor and you've been doing that exercise while I've been doing this one, start to go from one, and as that's coming down, go to the other. So this is a little bit more challenging to add the legs to it, so you can maybe just work with the arms and then come down, put your hands into the head and work the legs separate. So it's up to you, really listen to your body. In this position there's a little bit more chance to arch into the back, but it's better for the shoulders. Okay, so one more of each of those. And then release back down. And take that ball away. And we're going to, hello again, here I am. And come on to all fours. We're going to bring those legs together and tuck the toes under and do a little bit of stability for the upper body. So really nice spread out hands. The shoulders are nice and neutral on the back, so they're sliding into neutral. And then we want a natural curve through the back. We don't want to be dipped and arched. And then we're going to press the hands and the feet into the mat and just hover off a fraction. Just feel that nice little supported position. What I want to avoid is hunching the back or dropping. So I want to press with energy through the arms like pillows underneath and support the legs coming up. So it's a nice little preparation exercise for press-ups and for planks. So I'm just hovering a little bit off, trying to keep that lifting feeling of the stomach. I don't want to sag it out. So we can work with that. If your wrists are a little bit gentle, just come off, take a little breather. If you're okay, let's go there. Now, second stage, you can stay with that option, do a second set of what we just did, or we can come back to a little bit more of a kneeling plank, and then we're going to push out into a full plank. Exhale there, and inhale down. You can see my upper back does not move, my lower half stays nice and neutral. I'm trying to push those hips open at the front of me and press into those feet with strength and energy. Okay? If I'm sagging, then everything's going to sag. So I want nice, strong positions for there. Good. And one more. And if you want to hold and really get that challenge, just for a little bit longer, and then come back. Now this is an exercise that is a bit fun, it's a bit classic. Joseph Pilates. Using the ball is quite nice, having a little rounding over, but it's not good for everyone. Okay, so it's really important that you listen to your body for this. So if you have any lumbar back issues, any disc related issues, I would recommend not doing this exercise, or try it just as a little half roll back option. So here, and then coming back up and sitting nice and tall against the ball, and then rolling away, gently letting that pelvis go into a slight little flexed position, then coming back up. Another option with this is to actually have the ball behind and cradle into the ball gently, so you've got that support. That's a really nice option if you're just starting off and you want to get that little bit of flexion, that little bit of abdominal scoop, and have the support of the ball. I really like that option. So you can stay with either of those and do that about 5 to 10 times, or we can come up to here, let the pelvis roll back very gently, and even this balance is quite a challenge, that we're not wibbly wobbling all over the place. Taking a little breath to go back and come back up. There's lots of different variations of this exercise, but I find hollowing away from the ball and not flattening myself in is really key. Keeping the eyes focused down. So it's great if you're trying to get more flexibility through your spine, just a little bit of challenge. Watch, there's no stress in the neck. And then come back up. A nice little release off of there. I always like finishing with something that feels nice after that, which for me is extension. So we're going to do a full swan dive. I'm going to use the ball actually for this one. My legs are nicely together and the arms are out, and we're going to just glide the upper arm into the socket of the shoulder and start to lift the chest. Now this is the next tier up from that first exercise we did on the mat, where we were just working the thoracic spine. We're now coming up and trying to get a little bit more full extension through the back. Now not everyone's going to be here. Okay, some of you might just be starting down low, and you can use a foam roller for this. This works quite well, so it means the arms are a little bit wider apart. Draw back the upper arm into the socket. For those of us that are very tight in the lumbar spine and are flat there, this is really important to do. Discs like to have extension, so as much as we want to avoid it, it is really important for the back to feel flexible this way as well. Letting the breastbone shine forward. Don't want to hang the belly out, I want to lift it up with me. Nice and soft, and I'm drawing back those arm bones, the shoulder blades are drawing back without the ribs popping forward. So go to where you feel comfortable, and then come into a little child's pose. Good. When I finish, and you can be cross-legged, if that feels okay for you. You can sit up on a little bit higher surface. I like to go into our little mermaid sit. If you're really lopsided and twisted, then I wouldn't go in that option. I try and stay in the cross-legged or the sitting position. Or you can sit on a chair and just do the actions that we're doing here. So take a lovely little breath in. Keep long through the arm and just start to stretch towards your ball, getting a feeling of stretch to that right side. So my right leg is back and I'm stretching away from that right leg.
Try not to collapse on the ball. I'm trying to create this arc underneath so we really get that nice stretch. If it's too much for the shoulder there, just have the hand there, that's quite a nice version, or behind the head. So the elbows reaching up, breathe into the side. And then come back up. You can do that as many times as you like. I'm just going to do it one more. So if it feels nice, do more. If it feels like you don't need it, do more anyways. Now, if you feel like you don't need it, you can see if I just draw in the elbow, I actually get a little bit more stretch. If I reach too far away, it comes into my arm. And then return. And then of course, do the other side. So taking the arm up, inhale, and exhale. So some exercises really work much better with breath. Some we just want to be quite natural with our breath. Once I'm here, I'm just working through it, just trying to gain a little bit more stretch. That side feels tight because I did that leg series on that side. So that's interesting. If we work a little bit too much on one side to the other, that hand can go in the head. Breathe into the side of the ribs. Good. And then release. Lovely. I hope you've enjoyed that workout. I hope it's felt good for you. If you have any feedback, please go to our website, www.bodyfitsolutions.co.uk, and you can give us some comments on what you'd like to see there. Many thanks.